10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Power Hour is live. Hello, I'm Lee Kraft, a.k.a. the Monday Morning Racer, and over there, Mr. Dujanay Bland. Hey, get out that cellular device and hit the share button somewhere. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, let's do it.
Dujanay.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're going to talk about Colette, just so everybody knows.
You're right.
Yes.
You're
but
right.
There are more important things.
There are.
At the moment.
There are. Like, somebody got to win.
Somebody got to win. That's right. That's right. And this somebody, more people should know about, and they're going to learn more about her tonight. Very well-known name within drag racing. Last name.
Big name. Big name. You don't know who this is. You lived under a rock. Come on, man.
Right. And look, by the way, gets a win at possibly, well, not possibly, but simply one of the biggest regional events that there is. I mean, like, you got the Baby Gators, then you got this event, and it's right up there with it. Very big.
Yeah. I mean, at least we have some good, strong winning to talk about outside of the other stuff.
Absolutely. Folks, I just shared to my personal Facebook page. You, again, pick up that cellular device and hit the share button for us. Hit the like button. Dive into the comment section, as many of you already have. Thank you for watching. And after we talk with this, well, individual you should know with a well-known last name in the world of drag racing, we're going to talk to someone that is certainly no stranger to the show. That's Joe Morrison, with him making a debut for this season at the upcoming national event there, the house that Bader built.
Yeah, I love talking to Joe. Great program, a great thing they have going there in the pits as well. And it's something that he's passionate about, but it's also something that's important for everybody to make sure that they're doing for themselves as well, health-wise.
Absolutely. Andrew, he asks, did I move to McKinney Corp? Murph probably thinks I have at this point. Just moved here, but it has worked out with what I do with Murph and elsewhere within racing, that the little camper that my wife and I, we call Gertie affectionately, just get outside at Camp McKinney O'Floppers and hang out. And by the way, folks, McKinney Corp does a lot, even more than just the funny cars behind me. This is a new private label product. These look familiar. Just about on every door car you can imagine. Made right here at McKinney Corp. So it's funny cars, dragsters, door car stuff, even stuff.
Door cars.
You never know. You
never know.
So
he's always got his hands in something.
That's right. That's right. Things I can't tell you.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, look, we are going to no longer delay. We're going to take a break with a word from Weldon High Performance. Thank you, Weldon High Performance, for stepping up and with your fine pumps, pumping up the Power Hour on the CompetitionPlus.com, well, portfolio, where you can get all your drag racing news. And right after this word from Weldon High Performance, Melanie Johnson. Melanie, welcome to the show again. First time for me to have you on the show when I've been on. It's been a while. I haven't seen you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I think Brainerd last year was probably the last time I saw you, Lee.
Yeah, it's been a little while. And a lot of exciting things for you since Brainerd last year.
Yeah.
Kind of all started in Brainerd.
Right. So first of all, let's get this out of the way for anyone who may not know tuning in tonight that is not familiar with yourself. Johnson, that's the last name, like the last name in drag racing. Explain your connections concerning the family.
Yeah. Well, my dad is Top Fuel tuner Alan Johnson. He's got 13 Top Fuel championships. He's been building engines, cylinder heads for close to 40 years, I believe, out of Santa Maria, California. And him and my uncle Blaine, they raced together through the late 80s and early 90s. They won 4 consecutive championships in Top Alcohol Dragster. And that's where I find myself racing today.
Boom, there you have it, folks. So certainly has got all the pedigree necessary to be out there and doing some great things in Top Alcohol Dragster. And speaking of great things, got one thing out of the way, a win in regional action at the house that Bader built there in Norwalk, Ohio. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a spectacular track. I've always enjoyed going there as a fan and working in drag racing. It's got great facilities for the teams and for social media and PR people. And just to get to go down that track was phenomenal. Just a great racing surface and just wonderful, wonderful place to race.
So I have to ask you, every racer sometimes has that day where they're like, this is going to be the day. Did you have that feeling that that day was going to be the day for you and you were going to get that win?
A little bit, yeah. I didn't sleep all that great. I usually don't when I travel east because the time change, but woke up, just kind of went through my normal routine in the morning, and on the way to the track, it's just everything felt smooth. Just rolling through the gates. I don't know, something felt a little bit different, and warming up the car in the morning, just I had that feeling for sure.
Racing at Summit Racing Equipment Motorsports Park, the Cavalcade of Stars, Bill Bader Jr. puts a big emphasis on the stars of Top Alcohol, whether that's Funny Car or Top Alcohol Dragster. Usually there's a very tough crowd of cars attempting to make an 8-car field and then competing down to the top eliminator. When you look at the competition, when you look at the setting, the pressure, if you will, you look back on it now with your first win, does it give you a sense of accomplishment that you got it done in such a way and fashion that it wasn't just this out of the middle nowhere regional where nobody was looking, but plenty of eyeballs were on it?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was racing against the best competitors in the class, and so far every event I've been to has been that way. And you've got guys that have been doing it for 20 years, won almost every race there is to win. And this is my first year, and I don't know if it's just that rookie, I don't know any better, but I just faced it like any other race. And I had to race 2 guys throughout the day that have already beat me this year on slight hole shots. So it was challenging, and just having that, I wouldn't say chip on my shoulder, but just that memory in the back of my head. Like I know what I got to do here to get this done. And you got to beat the best to be the best. So I think with a couple of those good wins under my belt, just builds some confidence, and I'm excited to see what we can do next weekend.
You said you had to beat some folks that beat you on hole shots. How difficult is it to go into those matchups knowing what has happened previously and to keep yourself kind of calm, not overthink the thing, and just focus and go out and do what you know how to do?
Yeah, it's difficult because you do remember all your races. At least I do. I remember every time I've gone down the track and who's been in the other lane. I try not to pay too much attention to it while I'm sitting in the staging lanes. You got to focus at the task at hand. But yeah, a lot has changed for me personally. I've trained a lot with my reaction times. So I kind of had that sense of, okay, I'm a different driver this time around. And I'm just going to give it my best shot, see what we can do. I put my trust in McPhillips and my crew guys to give me a great car. And then all I have to do is step on the gas.
Ah, there you go. You mentioned that McPhillips gang, that rowdy, rough and tumble bunch off the East Coast competing in NHRA top alcohol tracks. You know, great group, junior and senior, and they certainly know how to field a very competitive top alcohol dragster. Why them in particular, though? There are some fine teams in top alcohol dragster, including them. But there's Randy Meyer Racing, and there's the Sampsels. There are many quality teams out there. Why in particular McPhillips Racing?
It really goes back to when I worked for Scrappers Racing, and at the time they were tuning Jasmine's car. So I got to spend a lot of time around their pit with Jasmine and covering her social media, and just got to know them. And we kind of clicked from the beginning. Richie and I just joke with each other all the time, and they're such good guys. And they race how I grew up watching my dad race. Said they want to win, and I just felt that determination, and they race as a family. They race together. A lot of people do race as a family, but just the feeling that I had when I went into their pit was something that I knew I wanted to be a part of.
Is there any pressure, knowing the pedigree that you come from, but then you go to a race team that has basically the same pedigree? Is there any pressure that you feel or may have felt early on coming into this thing that, I don't want to mess this up?
There's some of that. It's definitely worn off the more passes that I have in the car. And I think we just kind of have that mutual understanding that we're all out here for the same reason. We want to win. We want to win races. We want to win championships. And I think it goes both ways. I want to put the pressure on them by driving the absolute best I can, and they want to put the pressure on me by giving me the best car out there. So it's an even feeling, I think.
All right, Melanie, we got some photos here. There you are in the cockpit of the McPhillips Dragster #1, picking up the win. And I was over at Phil Ez's shop in Ohio, and he was the winner in Top Alcohol Funny Car, and this was on top of the cabinet. And I still don't know what it is. What the heck did he get y'all as a, side trophy, if you will, from Norwalk, along with the regional Wally?
It is an aluminum billet ice cream bowl, and it's engraved with the event information and Top Alcohol Dragster. It is heavy. It is beautiful.
That's cool.
And yeah. And the hope is to double up with the race this weekend and get that ice cream scoop too.
It's not complete. You got to get
It's not a complete set.
Exactly. Like if you got to win. That's all there is to it. Or you can't have ice cream.
That's right.
Like you cannot have ice cream unless you win now. Okay.
Yeah.
So
just saying.
This will give you a little idea about Richie McPhillips. Is he saw that and he thought it was a dog bowl. He's like, oh, we could let the dog eat out of that. That's the kind of humor we have going on between me and him.
I can see that.
That's good.
It may very well be the most expensive ice cream bowl on the planet.
I think so. Yeah.
That ice cream scoop looks pretty expensive too, though.
Yeah, I've heard they're heavy.
I'll let you know if I can get my hands on one next weekend.
I hear you. Yeah, rolling into the national event, the competition there is always stiff. That's just one. It seems like all of the alcohol racers, even Top Alcohol Funny Car, that struggles so much to have a full field or get near a full field, whether it's regional or whether it's a national event. That race is circled, and the top come out to Norwalk and compete. So you did it in regional action. What do you think it's going to take to get it done in national event trim? Double the field, double the pressure, if you will. Weather may very well be different from what it was this past weekend. I was in Ohio. I don't know about you all there in Norwalk, but it was hot in Ohio where I was. So conditions may be radically different. Yeah, but winning, national event, what's it going to take?
I think it's just going to take the same thing. It's going to take a consistent car and consistent reaction times, and just depends on who's in the other lane. If they have their best run and best reaction time of the weekend, and we do the same, and we lose, I mean, that's racing. But hopefully we can pull out a little luck, and and I've heard that a lot lately. Like, it takes one lucky round, it seems, to win a national event or any event, and just going to keep doing the same thing and hope for a little luck.
Good thing is that you have momentum on your side, and there's that momentum thing is real. So coming into this race, at least you have that behind you, and it's just a matter of rinse and repeat, I guess. I know that sounds easy, me saying that. I know it's a lot harder than that. But
yeah,
that's basically it. It's just kind of try to repeat what you did before, because momentum is real and it's on your side right now.
Yeah, and out of all the cars that raced at the regional, I'm sure most of them will be at the national event, and we've got the most run data on the track. Us and Jamie Noonan, of course, because he was in the final as well. But that is a huge part of it too, is just having that data. I expect the conditions to be similar unless we get a lot of rain. Knock on wood, we don't have the rain in this weekend, but yeah, it's something that we can count on our side for sure.
Does Dad stay away, or does he like come down there and be like, hey guys, you might want to turn the knobs this way? How does Pops handle you racing and in top alcohol dragster with all the success he's got? Is he just enjoying it, or is he biting his nails? Where's he at on it?
I don't think he's biting his nails, but I think he's very invested, and he wants to see all of us do well. And he comes down when we're at the same event and takes a look at the computer and at the squiggly lines, as it were, and just to take a look. And if he has a piece of advice, he'll let us know. But I can tell he's really proud, and I'm happy to make him proud. And it's always cool to see the videos of him on the starting line when he's at the races, because as everyone that knows him knows, he's pretty stoic when he's on the starting line. He's setting records, winning championships, pretty stoic most of the time. But I've seen some videos just from my first round wins where he's up there clapping and high-fiving and huge smile on his face. So I would say he's got, a little involvement, but it's just full support for sure.
Yeah, I believe he spoke about that I think it was on NHRA TV, and you don't see Alan Johnson smiling too much, but he had a smile on his face. I know, talking to Ashley with John, that he had a lot of things to say, giving her pointers. Does your dad, does he have a lot of things to say, or he kind of just lets you do you?
He's just letting me do me, and he's always a phone call away when I have questions for him. And he drove for a little bit back in the 80s when they first went alcohol dragster racing, but he's worked with a lot of drivers and had success with many different styles drivers, men, women. So he's got some great advice. And when I just have a question, and from the tuners aspect of it, if I need to check in with him, I do. But the Rich and Richie McPhillips, they're just a Bible of knowledge too, and they've supported me so much through beginning these steps of learning how to drive, and they gave me the whole step-by-step procedure before I licensed last year, and I committed it to memory and nailed every point on that procedure list through testing and licensing, and I just committed all that to muscle memory. So anytime I feel a variation from the norm, I check in with them, and they help me out, and they can give me small pointers. Hey, just be a little bit shorter on your burnout, just make sure you got no hand on the brake when you're backing up, stuff like that. Like they're so easy to work with. And we're kind of learning each other's styles. I'm a very much tell me what you want and I'll do it. And they seem to get that, and it works really well.
Folks may see you on this show and when you were on the show earlier this year, and they may hear of Melanie Johnson winning, and they may get a sense that you have come out of nowhere, even though last name Johnson. But that's not the case. You've been working behind the scenes for a long time now, even in particular with Top Alcohol, Funny Car, and Dragster. And where do you think the class is at the moment, both sides of it? Because I know that there's a lot of work from those in Top Alcohol, whether Dragsters or Funny Cars, to, well, have some better representation for the sake of treatment and better racing experience, whether regional or national event.
I knew when I came into the class that it was going to be kind of rough with run times and where we get pitted and such, but that's kind of how it's been my entire life. And I would love to help bring more attention to the class and get more eyes on us, maybe get some sponsorship to support our class, bring up our purses a little bit, and help us get more attention. I'm just one person. I don't have all the answers, but I think the power of social media is incredibly important for us to harness. And I think all the teams and all the drivers we can do a good job of getting the word out and kind of band together and just show how cool we are and how badass these cars are. We are the second fastest class in NHRA drag racing. So why can't we pull more people in? I don't see why we couldn't.
Yeah, I think that would be super important. I've also thought a little bit about, there's another series starting up here. They also have the same, have the same class. Any thoughts that maybe, just maybe, huh?
Same state.
Yeah, and same state. That's right. That's right. Any thoughts maybe going and maybe out over there?
I haven't had any thoughts about it or conversations about going to IHRA. I kind of want to see how it all pans out. There's been a lot of news one way or the other if this thing's going to get off the ground again. It just seems like one step forward, two steps back right now. So I think it's a kind of wait and see what happens. I wish them the best, and I hope there's some great events that they can put on, kind of fill the gaps with the NHRA schedule. I think that would be great to just get more drag racing is better for all of us. So
indeed,
it's get to more fans.
All right, let's see if we can have a fun one here. I was once told that dear old dad, that in the fridge at the track, there's always Reese's peanut butter cups and Peronis found. What about in your refrigerator at the track?
Protein shakes.
Protein shakes. All right.
Yeah.
What brand? Like I like Premier Protein in particular. It comes in a little cardboard box and all that. I think those are rather flavorful and work with like keto and things of that nature and low carb. So and then Fairlife's pretty good. I like those. What's the top brand for Melanie Johnson?
It just depends on what's available across the country. You go to these little towns like Norwalk and you stop in at the convenience store. It just kind of depends what's available. Over the weekend, I had Shamrock Farms. That's got 30 grams of protein. It's pretty tasty. But the Core Power is a popular one that I see a lot. And I've had Fairlife too. That's pretty good.
Dujnay or Madison Payne. No one said muscle.
We
We love you, Madison. We love you.
So I have to ask. I asked Alexis DeJoria, what's the pregame like? What's your thing? Are you superstitious? Like, what's your pregame getting ready for race day?
I don't have anything particular for race day. I just try to do the same routine as I do every day of my life. Like get up, take my vitamins, brush my teeth, get ready. I've integrated some eye patches in the morning to reduce the baggy eyes from travel. But yeah, just staying hydrated first thing in the morning, I think it sets me up for a successful day. And just trying to keep my body in the same shape, same frame of mind as every single day, just to kind of be level. And because naturally the adrenaline of race day is going to hit at some point, and I don't need to inject any more of that into the routine. Any
music you listen to? Like
I listen to everything, but nothing in particular on race day. It's just kind of, just not trying to do anything special. The moment of getting in the car and going down the racetrack, that's special enough.
Yeah.
Well, in this type of situation, you're in Top Alcohol Dragster, and having someone in Top Alcohol Dragster, the natural question in the chat is always, what does the future look like? So, any top fuel plans for Melanie Johnson?
At this time, no. I'm focused on prospering in the class, and I want to win some championships. I mean, I get this question a lot, obviously, but that's where my head's at. My Uncle Blaine and my dad won 4 championships in a row, and I don't know if I can win 4 championships or win them in a row, but I'd like to win at least one and go from there.
That's a good goal.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Well, Melanie, go ahead, do your thing.
Because everybody doesn't want to move up. I mean, and I don't have a problem with that. Because me, if I had an opportunity, I'd probably stay in that class. I think it's a fun class to be in. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of great drivers. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. I mean, it's super competitive too, and there's great speed, there's rivalries, there's all of it, and I'll never say never. I don't know what the future holds, but that's my plan. Stick around and see what happens.
What about driving a blown car?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it, but yeah, really enjoying the A Field car, and I'm not opposed to any type of car. It'll be interesting to see what the new combination kind of brings to the class, and you never know.
We shall see. We shall see. I feel that Top Alcohol Dragster will weather it far better than Top Alcohol Funny Car, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, Melanie, take the time and shout out those that are supporting you before we let you go, and enjoy the rest of your evening, and clue us in on who's on the side of the car and helping you in regional and national event trim.
Yeah. I've had support from some local businesses, the Hitching Post of Casmalia, DL Farms, Steel Management, Morro Bay Cabinets. They're a familiar name out there with the Gordons. And of course, my dad's business, AJPE. And I'm always looking for more partnerships. It's something I work on every day, just trying to reach out to folks. And I think I have a great story going on here, and carrying on the legacy of my family. I would love to partner with a company who's kind of got the same legacy going on, and we'll just see. We'll keep plugging away.
All right, that'd be cool. Keep up the good work, and go get that ice cream.
Yeah, that's the plan. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Melanie. Appreciate it. Melanie Johnson, getting it done, and I think we'll continue to get it done in Top Alcohol Dragster and possibly beyond. You never know. Been behind the scenes for many years and has worked with many different individuals, like she said, Scrappers Racing. If you got a press release for a while from the Gordons, it was Melanie. and she is a photographer and handles social media. Very well rounded, and now getting the driving chops in as well.
Yeah, I like what she said about it helped social media because it helps that she's been a part of that, understands how that works, and I think that's an asset to really help build the class as well. Yeah, it really helps when and it's unfortunate that so many people don't know how important that is. And I think with her expertise in that department, that's going to help a lot of different people in that class and help get that class up and in the forefront, so to speak.
Absolutely. We're going to take a break. This break with Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. We are waiting for Joe Morrison to come into the green room. Until then, we'll chat it up concerning drag racing and what happened this past weekend, even beyond the NHRA. But, well, that was some interesting readjustments in the Drag Race Bracket Bonanza at the end of, Monday.
Yeah, it was very interesting. And it's been a rough season, guys. It's been a rough season. But if you're not involved, I don't know what you're doing with your life, but this is how you can get involved, guys.
Drag racing fans, check out Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. It's the free, family-friendly fantasy bracket game. Now, after final qualifying at every national event, you can fill out your bracket for all the pro classes.
It's free, easy to click on your picks. If you need some help, just hit the randomizer button to fill in the blanks. It's for fun, stay engaged, and pick your winners today.
Well, we come out of the break. We're still waiting on Joe. Certainly want to talk to him. He, if I recall correctly, he's kind of making a tradition now of rolling out at Norwalk. And he'll be doing so again with Paul Smith Racing, from what I understand. Looking forward to chatting with him when we get the opportunity. We'll take the time, though, in between. And Duchesne, let's dive in on some of the matters that are taking place in the world of drag racing. And yes, folks, there is more beyond NHRA, even though the headlines may be dominated by their actions.
Yeah. It is dominated by the actions. And we'll get to that. I know you guys had Nitro Chaos here recently last weekend.
Chaos. It was at Edgewater Sports Park, Thunder in the Park. They're in Cleves, Ohio, which is outside of Cincinnati. And we had a great event, good racing, career bests for some of the teams. The track was on keel, and just the wild combinations that come out for Nitro Chaos. Like, look, Jake Sanders with Snake Enterprises and the Menace Top Fuel team, you look at what they've got and you're like, oh, nostalgia front engine dragster. And no, like, other than it being a front engine dragster, it is not anything nostalgia. It is a big show combination in just about every way possible. And he's going out there drag racing with a front engine dragster. It's not a nostalgia front engine dragster like they're running in Bakersfield or they're running at Bowling Green. No, he's put the big tire on it. He's got the big absurd hat on it and looks like a Hot Wheels car. And he goes out there. They're running, 366 and 360s and competitive out there with the other cars. And we had a car make a debut in Eric Stevens and American Thunder, and then Mad Max. They were running.
That was a beautiful car too.
Yeah, beautiful car. So Tim Cullinan, Little Turbo, the son to Tim Cullinan, Turbo Tim. He hopped in the car finally and took the Irish car bomb down the drag strip and picked up a round win. So there were some new faces, certainly some old faces. Right now, it is very competitive in the Nitro Chaos points. Like, the top 5 are separated altogether by like 7 points or something like that.
That's
so some extremely competitive drag racing right now. and we'll roll into MoKan July 18th, 19th, and the championship hunt will continue there at Asbury, Missouri, almost into Kansas in July. Conditions are going to be tough for nitro cars for sure, hooking up to a great smoking MoKan dragway. So great racing. Just wish we had some better weather in the case of the heat. It
rough.
Was, again, very toasty. Saturday was just as warm as it was last year. In fact, there were 3 people at least that dropped out due to heat stress, and the race had to be stopped because medical personnel needed to attend to them. And this is not a national event level type of event, and the medical personnel you got, well, they're doing many things.
Yeah.
You don't got that first aid station type of setup, and wow, it was so toasty. And it's weekends like that, it's races like that. Let's start at 8 p.m. and run to 1 and make it $1 beer night or something and get the show in. It was great, but it was warm.
Yeah, it's been roasting everywhere. I think today we hit 105 here, heat index, and it's been cooking, man. And it's no joke. You got to stay hydrated. Even when you do, it's like, you can't keep, when you're in that situation, you got fire suits on and you're doing all these different things. It's like you can't keep the fluids going fast enough to stay hydrated in those situations. And it's definitely, it taxes the body for sure.
Absolutely. I spoke with Buddy Holt briefly yesterday, and he mentioned that, he was still recovering from the national event there at Virginia Motorsports Park. It was humid. It was hot there. And you're basically wearing this, heavy oven mitt over your entire body. And in a vehicle that there's no airflow, much less air conditioning. Yep. And, you had people pass out even there as competitors that are not out of shape, but it's just tough conditions. And go back to, 2 years ago now? Justin Ashley is no unfit individual.
No, he's in shape.
He had the issue that he did that at that time at Pomona. Okay. Mm-hmm. If it can happen to him, it can happen to anybody. And it is a serious, serious matter when it gets hot. And that was the case across most of the country. And though races did happen, I don't think they were as well attended as they could have been just because it was hot.
It's hot. Yeah. I've had that happen to me before. And it happens pretty quickly. You think you're doing well, hydrated, and then all of a sudden you start to lose strength. You start to get really weak, and the next thing you know, you're feeling like you're going to pass out. Like it feels like your body's just quitting on you. Yeah. And it happens really fast. It's kind of scary too, because your limbs just stop moving. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like you almost completely shut down. So yeah, it's a serious thing, and it can happen really quickly.
I don't think people realize the importance of pre-hydrating, that you do not just hydrate the day of. You are looking at a forecast and you are getting prepared. Like, at a Funny Car Chaos event or any drag race that I go to, I'm outside all the time. I'm walking the pits. I'm in and out. I'm on the track. The track's hotter. I mean, the track's like 148 degrees and it's radiating off. So just in it the whole time. And hydrating starts days ahead.
Yes, and days ahead.
Fans, you need to do the same.
Yeah.
And hydrate does not mean a beer. It needs to be like for a beer to water, okay? Let's work it out that way or something, okay? But yes, it was hot, and I think that did affect attendance. But I will say, at least for Nitro Chaos, it did not affect the racing action. There was great racing.
Yeah.
And there were some great saves. If you have not seen what Chuck Lofton did in testing, you need to go to the Nitro Chaos YouTube channel and see what that man did when oil went everywhere and under his tires and it got up on the side. Somehow he brought that thing back.
Yeah, I don't know how he did it.
I don't know how he did it.
I don't know how he did it.
I don't know. Well, we got Joe Morrison in the green room. We'll take a break and get him here on the Competition Plus Power Hour. He certainly is no stranger to the show. We'll chat with him about firing it up for himself in 2025. And when it comes to when you, fire up, you need to have the right parts and pieces. So to get those, Competition Products. They've got
Competition Products, your source for hardcore engine parts for street, strip, and oval track. Our free catalog is packed with hundreds of product lines from the best-known manufacturers in the performance industry. Lowest prices guaranteed. Free shipping and handling on all orders over $149 in the continental U.S. Need expert advice? Our knowledgeable staff is just a phone call away. Competition Products, race parts sold by racers since 1970.
Joe.
Nitro
What's
Joe.
up? What's up, gentlemen? It's great to see you both.
Hey, good to see you, man. Haven't seen you obviously in person in a while, and haven't seen you even on camera in a while. So good to have you on the show.
It's great to be back. Let me tell you, it's been a busy year already, believe it or not. I just have not been racing at the Mission Food Series level. I know, I know, of course, Monday Morning Racer. I've seen you at one of the Funny Car Chaos events, at least down there. And you were down there in Texas, right? Or am I imagining
No, I wasn't.
that?
I was not able to make that.
See that? Maybe that was last year I'm thinking of. But yeah, I was. I've had a couple of events this year in the nostalgia car, driving Dennis Champney's Crazy Horse Mustang. We got a new body on that car. We had a Dodge Avenger body on it. Now we got that 1969 Mustang Mach 1. There you go.
Beautiful.
And that's it. We're having a lot of fun with that thing. And we were at the Easter weekend race down at Summer Duck, and then we were at Texas Chaos. And then that picture right there you see is making an exhibition pass up in the New England Nationals. That was a whole lot of fun. Little tire shake on that run and pedaled it and still ran a 660 at 224, 225, something like that. So that would have been a 620 run if it didn't shake and I had to get out of it. But yeah, having a lot of fun there. And then been out twice with Tom Pickett and team and the Top Alcohol Dragster. So I did the Cecil County Top Alcohol Shootout. And it's not a fuel car. I mean, that's a true blown alcohol deal. So I get to swap feet in that thing. And that's been fun. I mean, it's a learning curve, you know. I mean, I haven't driven a Top Alcohol Dragster other than an A fuel car before, but it's been fun. And Kevin Cantrell has been a great teacher, and Tom as well. And yeah, coming up, this is when we start the Nitro thing, man. And coming up to Norwalk, driving Paul Smith's Nitro Funny Car, man. And I can't wait, man. I absolutely can't wait. I wanted to start earlier this season, and kind of some of the plans I had got pushed back and some changes made, but here we are, you know, and doing stuff with Right to Breathe too, but so excited to finally get back behind the wheel of a 12,000 horsepower in totally insane Nitro Funny Car.
You guys have been making this kind of a tradition of debuting here at Norwalk. You know, you have this, and then you get to really, this is the kickoff for the Right to Breathe. I kind of know what it's been. We've talked, and you've been on my show as well, kind of cluing the fans what that's about and what you guys are going to be doing out there in Norwalk. Yeah,
absolutely. So most people know, but in case you don't, I am a second generation racer. My dad was a stock and super stock racer in the 60s and then into the 70s, and when my brother and I were real young. He had to give it up because we couldn't afford to keep doing that, couldn't afford to keep racing, and he had to take over the family plumbing business. And so what ended up happening was years later, when I was finally able to give racing back to him, we started doing nostalgia racing. That's when he was diagnosed with COPD, or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So that is an umbrella term that covers things like emphysema and chronic bronchitis. His was caused by a couple of different things. His work as a plumber and that sort of thing. But the whole key was COPD. Unfortunately, my dad did not get diagnosed until he'd already lost a lot of lung function. And if you catch it early, you can slow or stop the progression of it. And that's where Right to Breathe comes in. So we actually provide free lung screenings, mostly at racing events, because our racers and fans, me, for example, right? I've spent, 30 years working as a landscape contractor, working in dusty, dirty environments, cutting brick and concrete, working around pesticides. I'm in the risk group for COPD, and a lot of our other racers and fans are too. So this is kind of my way of honoring my dad's legacy and then giving back to our community, providing free lung screening. So Right to Breathe, our goal is to help empower people to live their best lives that are already diagnosed with lung disease, and then also help fans that are in the early stages find out they have it so they can take action and they can stay healthy and slow the progression. Because like I said, if you catch it early, you can slow or stop the progression of the disease, and you can live better. You can keep racing if that's what you love to do, or whatever it is. So yeah, Right to Breathe. And we're lucky to have Cleveland Clinic, which is not only nationally known, but world renowned. We've got an amazing team of people that come out and help us. This is our third year with Cleveland Clinic helping us at Norwalk. And new this year, we're going to be in the Midway right alongside Kroger Health, and Kroger Health is doing some additional health screenings. We're excited to be alongside of them and working together to help serve the NHRA community, both racers and fans, and help people to know their numbers and get screened and stay healthy, because we want to keep doing this great sport of drag racing for as long as possible. And that's our way of trying to help ensure that can happen.
Well, Joe, you certainly have a great program, and you are always busy at the wheel in so many different rides. And I think that is a cool part of what you're doing. Look, I know you would love to be full-time. It may very well happen for you out there at some point doing Mission Foods NHRA drag racing. But I even think if you were full-time, you'd still be hopping into some of these other hot rods and having fun and enjoying drag racing in so many different ways. And I appreciate that about you, that you're not just like a nitro funny car specialist. You're doing more out there in the sport than just being in a nitro funny car. You mentioned the shootout there at Cecil with Top Alcohol. We haven't had anyone on to really talk about that. How did that go? What was the vibe? Is that something that may very well happen again? And what did the racers and teams think about it, that Top Alcohol Dragster and Top Alcohol Funny Car kind of, got their shot?
So it was a great thing. Believe it or not, it was just Top Alcohol Dragster. There were no funny cars there, and I thought it was going to be both, and it was just the Top Alcohol Dragsters. And I'll tell you what, everybody that I talked to, and there was quite a few. I mean, we had a drivers meeting beforehand, so it's good to kind of shake hands with everybody and see some old friends. And it's funny. So Gary Pritchett was there driving one of the Meyer cars, and Gary and I were racing at the same track on Easter weekend, which was cool. So we were laughing, saying, "Well, it looks like we're going to see each other a bunch this year, whether it's in funny cars or dragsters." But the vibe was great, man. I mean, the biggest problem there, which has been a problem in a lot of places this year, was rain. We were supposed to race Friday, Saturday, and then be home for Mother's Day because it was Mother's Day weekend. Ended up racing Saturday and into Sunday. But I think Cecil County and Jim Halsey did a fantastic job dealing with everything dealing with the weather, getting the track together. I mean, they always do a great job there. So I think the track was pretty happy. I think the crowd was pretty happy. And quite honestly, I think the racers enjoyed it. You know, it was really cool, kind of neat seeing DJ Cox get his license in my buddy Tommy Fox's car. And I think overall it was a really good event, and I get the sense that it's going to happen again, and I hope it does. You know, the alcohol ranks, so many great racers, so many talented racers. I mean, I can't, you know, most of those teams are pros in every sense of the word. So to get to run against those competitors, to me, it's an honor, right? It's like, okay, sure, you could look at it as like, oh, well, you know, it's not the Mission Foods level, it's Lucas Oil level and whatnot. But I don't know, man. I'll tell you what, great racers. And I'm just happy when I'm in a race car. You know, I mean, really, I'll compete in anything just about. The only thing my wife does not want me in a pro mod, because every time we're at the track and it gets silent, it's like another pro mod crashed. I'm like, well, hey, listen, I'm licensed in Top Fuel and Nitro Funny Car. I've driven fuel altered, so I've driven nostalgic cars. All right, I'm good with that. That's fine. You know, maybe I'll continue. If I started in Top Fuel, switch to Nitro Funny Car, maybe I'll do something crazy and get my pro stock license one day. I don't know, but I just love racing, man. And if you want to be a race car driver, you got to drive race cars. So every opportunity I get, you know, this thing with Dennis Champney has been fantastic. Dennis and I have been having a lot of fun, and we've had, you know, a little bit of success. And the learning curve is going really well in the Top Alcohol Dragster. And I've been making runs in my head and doing visualizations to be ready to get into this funny car. I think with the weather this weekend, we got a shot of rain on Friday. I think we'll get Saturday in the way it looks like. And then I think we might get Friday in too, but we'll see what happens there. But we might end up with fewer qualifying sessions. And last I checked, there's 21 funny cars going for 16 spots. And there really ain't no ducks, man. You know, I mean, there's 21 good cars, some great cars and good cars. And it's going to be a dogfight, man. It's going to be an all-out battle just to get into the field. And then you really got to get to it, you know? So it'll be interesting, but I appreciate the kind words. And yeah, man, I'm lucky for a guy that grew up never thinking that I would never get a shot to race anything. You know, I got to pinch myself pretty regularly.
Any changes to the team? Same guys, same group of guys that are going to be coming out and working on this car and getting it ready for you to make these passes?
There's
So
one old dude you can't get rid of. I know that.
Well, I'll tell you, saying all that about 21 funny cars, the fact that I'm driving Paul Smith's funny car has me feeling pretty good. You know, I've said it before. I'll say it again. That man could get a funny car down a dirt road. So we do have a little bit of help this weekend from Jimbo Ermolovich. He was just, of course, with the Hirschhauser racing car down there in Virginia, and he's got a weekend off. So it's cool. Jimbo was there with us last year in Norwalk. We were competing against him in Reading last year, but yeah. So and Brant, who's with the Paul Smith team for a good long time. Obviously, Bodie's going to be tuning his daughter, but Bodie's always got his hands on the funny car. So knowing that he's there always is a great level of comfort. And you know, between Paul and Bodie, if I have any questions, they've always got a great way to help direct me and keep me on track. You know, I feel like I do a halfway decent job of that myself, but listen, man, there's always something to learn in these cars. And those, you know, Bodie's got way more time behind the wheel of a Nitro Funny car than I do. So, you know, it's always great to get his perspective. So yeah, a lot of the same guys. My son, Brendan, will be there. Brendan's been working hard learning at the unofficial Paul Smith Nitro School. Which is cool. Brendan had his hands on the car at Maple Grove last year. And when we were spectating and I was there for business meetings at Gainesville, Brendan worked on the car that weekend. And Brendan had helped out in kind of like an assistance capacity, even with the leverage car previously. So it's not his first time with his hands on a nitro car, but a 20-year-old working on these fuel cars, man, he's living his best life. And it's great that, you know, like I got to race with my dad. Now I get the same experience racing father and son together. So yeah, cool deal, man.
With, you know, racing with Paul Smith and getting back out there in that hot rod, Paul has history with another drag racing body and some very successful history. So, any International Hot Rod Association racing, Jim?
Let's just say you never know what might happen. You never know what might happen. So I think that's going to be a topic of discussion in Norwalk. But I can't say anything official right now. But I've been paying attention. Paul's been paying attention. You know, and I'm intrigued by it. And not only that, not only with Paul, it's been a conversation with the top alcohol dragster too. So you never know. You never know. I mean, there's a pretty good chance. Speaking of both those teams, there's a pretty good chance that I'll be driving Nitro Funny Car and top alcohol dragster at Maple Grove later this year. So there's a pretty good chance that that's going to happen too. So there's a little tease out there.
I like how things are shaping up. I feel like the old gang is coming back together again in some ways. I know the Mac Attack group, they're coming to Norwalk for the first time in a while, and I'm like, this is
this is going to be
more back up.
This is going to be their first race since Mike Sr. passed away.
Yeah, right.
And I'm looking forward to seeing those guys, being that we both started out in different areas, you know, with nostalgia racing, but great bunch of cars, man. You got Dale Creasy out there. You've got Julie Natus back in Del Worsham's car. You got Chris King, you know, and then a bunch of the usual suspects, right? Who else am I leaving out besides Mike McIntyre that are the part timers?
Is Bobby and Bob Bodie showing up?
Oh yeah. You know what?
Yeah,
but Bodie's in his own car as opposed to Worsham's. You know, obviously he drove Dell's car earlier this year, so. Not that I'm paying attention or anything.
Oh, man. But your thoughts on the NHRA? I feel like, man, if this goes well, this is something that can change a lot of small teams' lives, so to speak. With the money that's available, these are extra laps that these teams get. That's extra money they can put in their pocket. But not only that, when they do go to the NHRA events, they're a little bit more polished because they're able to run in a series that, you know, fits their pocketbook.
Yeah. I'm rooting for the IHRA. I really want to see it happen. I think it's a great thing. And think about it. When those races happen, starting out at this time of year, that's when all the other teams go west. So all the teams that are centered around the middle part of the country that are part-time teams, East Coast teams, you know, you got some races not too far away. And the purses are all right. You know, I mean, hey, listen, you can make the purse $100,000 to win, and racers will find a way to make sure they're spending $1 million. So, you know, let's call it what it is, man. Yeah. Let's call it. We're our own worst enemy, man. We always have been, and that's like they say. Nitro racing costs the same today as it did 50 years ago. Everything you've got. But I'll tell you what. I think. Well, look, competition is good, and giving racers another place to race, and more opportunity. And giving fans more opportunity, I think it's a good thing, man. some people believe that you burn people out on it, or there's too much of a good thing, or NHRA should only have 15 races and not 20. And my bias, look, man, I love racing. I want to see more. I don't want to see less. Now, I'm not the guy running the show, and nor should I be, right? I mean, that's not my thing. I know my place. I'm a driver. I love to drive, and that's where my interest lies. So you're seeing my bias here, right? But I am watching the IHRA very closely, and I'm rooting for them. I want to see them succeed, and if I can go over there and race in whatever class I can get over there and race, I mean, hell, I might even bring my Fiat out and run it in top dragster out there. You never know. But I'm just looking to fill my schedule, right? I'm looking to be behind the wheel as often as possible. I'm looking to work with as many good teams as I can. And I'm fortunate. This has been a real busy year. I think by the time all's said and done, by the time my year's done, I'll have done somewhere between 15 and 18 races, depending on how some of these other things shake out. So, unfortunately, only 2 or 3 of them are going to be at the Mission Foods level, but going in with a quality team and a great family team like Paul Smith, I'd rather do a couple fewer and really feel like I'm going in there, with the best shot I can with what I've got. And truthfully, people have been like, oh, Paul Smith, he's really tough. You know what? You tell the truth, you own it when you screw up, and you listen to the man. We've gotten along great, and I respect him greatly. He's fantastic, man. He really is. We've just had a great time. So, all that to say, hey, I'm rooting for the IHRA, and hopefully I can get out to a couple of those races this year. Let's see what that looks like.
Joe, before we let you go, anything in particular else to share? And if not, please clue everyone in on where they can follow you in the journey of whether it's Nostalgia Funny Car or Top Alcohol Dragster or Nitro Funny Car or whatever else it might be in the portfolio of Joe Morrison.
Yeah. Now, I guess there's no other real breaking news to share, I guess, other than the fact that, I'm driving, 3. Well, I'll have my car out at Island Dragway. I try to make sure my home track that's not a national event home track, right? I like to tell the story that Hank Dinger, the announcer, has been there forever. Hank showed up for a Christmas party, and I was born early, and so I met Hank Dinger when I was 2 days old. And so when Hank's on the microphone at Island Dragway, he can say, and he does. He's the only announcer that's seen me in a diaper and in a fire suit. Island Dragway, the anniversary race. I do everything I can when I can to support my home track, and Melissa and Carl there, and I do want to encourage folks to support their local drag strip. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but that's got to be one of the toughest businesses to be in, and if we want to keep racing alive, we got to get out and go to the races. Right? Get out and go to the races, and don't complain how much the damn hamburger costs. They would charge less if they could. 4 different cars this year. And if anybody wants to follow, you can see right there, if you go to, at CH3NO2 Joe on just about any platform, that'll take you to me. So even if you type that in on Facebook, they'll get you, Joe Morrison, NHRA Nitro driver. Same thing on Instagram, on Twitter or X. I've even got a couple of TikTok videos up there, but I'll do a little bit more with that. I mean, we've had some fun with that, but not anything real serious. But I'm dipping my toe in the TikTok war. I know I'm late to the party, but that's all right. The next couple of races scheduled this weekend, obviously in Norwalk. Would love to see as many people there as possible, and we're going to do a little testing in the Top Alcohol Dragster I'll get home Monday, and I'll be back on the road Tuesday night, heading north to New England Dragway for testing. And then we're at Lebanon Valley for the Division I East Region event at Lebanon Valley Dragway the following week. That's July 4th and 5th. And then a week after that, I'll be at Dragway 42 in Dennis Champney's car and the Crazy Horse Mustang. And then there's I guess a couple of weeks off. I'm probably going to help my buddy Rocky one weekend, Rocky Perone, if they need some help. So if I'm not driving, I'm still helping with somebody else. And then Island Dragway for their anniversary race, the first weekend in August. And then there's another divisional race at New England Dragway. And then it's Indy. I don't know if I'm racing or not. And Maple Grove, that we've got big plans for. And so you can find all that. And also nitrojoemorrison.com. So I've got a portion of my schedule up there, and we've got some blogs up there. And if people do really want to follow along, I've been doing about a monthly blog on racing junk. So if anyone's really interested and they want to see the ins and outs and what I like to call the glamorous life of a race car driver, and you can see how crazy it is. As a matter of fact, my old side story, right? Let me do a John Force on you. My old 2000 GMC dually pickup truck just turned 350,000 miles. So, cruising up and down the road in whatever I can, whatever it takes to get me to the next race.
I like it.
I like it too.
Keep it rolling, Joe, and we know you will. And always good to chat with you. We will certainly have our eye on you to put the entertainer in the field, and never know, maybe be a bracket buster. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm sure hoping. Cool. I'll tell you what, man. That's talking to Elin and Drag Race Bracket Bonanza. I want to be a bracket buster, dude. I want to. That would make me a happy guy. We'll see what happens.
All
but
right.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate it, man. Always great to be on the show, and it's funny. Next thing I'll be doing, I got to jump back up on my little RV camper and keep fixing my AC unit. So.
Oh, well, Joe, get it done, and we know you will. Thank you for being on. We'll chat with you later.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you
later.
Joe Morrison,
making
a NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing 2025 first start this weekend there in Norwalk, Ohio, for the national event that will be taking place. Dugenais, I think it's time to get to the peak moment that we've all been waiting for on the show of what's been going on lately. This word for peak.
If you want to take your vehicle's performance to new heights, you got to give it peak. Like our original equipment technology, antifreeze, and coolant. Our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle. That's one reason why Peak is among the fastest growing brands of coolant in America. We work harder to earn the trust of people like you every day.
Dugenais Bland. Sunday, I'm recuperating from Nitro Chaos at this lovely campground on the banks of the Ohio River, which is mighty high, by the way, east of Cincinnati. And occasionally checking in on an update every now and then of what's happening with the NHRA national event there at Virginia Motorsports Park. By the end of the day, I've noticed from your tweet on X, and yes, you can follow Mr. Bland on X, that there is a weird situation atop the results chart.
Yeah.
In red, results pending, or something to that effect. And I'm like, what is going on? And then you notice the press release doesn't include Langdon's name, but just the other two professional categories. And that red stays there in a foreboding way, as if it was red letters in the Bible of we're not done yet from the NHRA. And it takes, what, 24 hours?
24 hours.
To get an official word on the winner of the national event there at Virginia Motorsports Park. Strange times indeed.
Strange indeed. You know, I had a problem with a lot of it. You are the establishment. This is the Taj Mahal of drag racing. This is the pinnacle. This is the diamond. This is the place that people try to get to. You are the WWE of drag racing. This is where people want to go.
You're the NBA. You are Major League. You are.
Yes.
You're the NASCAR.
You're it.
Oh, that might have been a little too close.
But it's too often that we're operating like it's amateur hour at the Apollo Theater. This was not hard at all. I mean, the rule was pretty clear. A fifth grader could understand this. 12 bolt minimum, less than 12 bolts. So there's no discussion on whether there's a violation or not.
Right.
The issue is, what is the proper action? And this is where I think they get it wrong. And it's partly because there is no criteria, really. There's no criteria, because to me, it's levels to this. You can't put bolts being missing on a bell housing in the same breath as J.R. Gray's pin being in the fire bottle. The fire bottle doesn't go off and that thing blows up and is in a ball of flames. That thing burns to the ground and JR may not get out. That ain't the same as some bolts being missing on a bell housing. And yes, the event of a clutch disintegrating and killing someone in the stands did happen. It happened once. Now, it doesn't mean it can't happen again, but there's a lot of gray area. When did that come off? I don't know. They did discover all the bolts, but to D&Q an entire run and take away a win sets a bad standard now. Because now, any small safety, remember, this is about safety. So any small safety infraction is now a D&Q'd run. You cannot back away from that. And please don't feed me the BS, because that's exactly what it is. You cannot back away from not D&Qing runs that are deemed safety issues, no matter how big or how small, because of what you've done here. But what you really need to understand is that every foul is not a flagrant foul. Every foul is not an ejectable foul. Every illegal contact is not a pass interference. There's levels to this. But you took 24 hours to come up with a statement and to come to a conclusion that most in the media were already talking about once they found that out. And nothing changed. So what exactly are we doing here is what I'm saying. And let's add to the fact that Elite, when you put that press release out, now you have set the standard. And now the standard is the standard. But we can't pick and choose which things we're going to release in the press to the public. And I don't want to hear the crying and the belly aching and the victim playing because fans had something to say about it, racers had something to say about this, and media had something to say about it. Because you know what? You're not the victim. The NFL gets way more flack for things that go on than you do. And guess what? You're very low on the totem pole in the hierarchy of sports, if you want to be honest. So I don't want to hear the victim playing. The fact of the matter is fans want three things. They want respect, honesty, and transparency. You set that standard with the elite call. So now that is the standard going forward. And as I like to always say, the standard is the standard. So now you can't go playing games like it's 1980 and like nobody's going to find out about this until the local newspaper writes about it. No, that's not where we are anymore. Not at all. And we need to stop running things like this is a Mickey Mouse operation. And please stop feeding people a bunch of crap and lies. The fact of the matter is some of us here want to tell the truth and not afraid to do that. And some of us are just counterfeit bucks. Playing a game, doing puppetry. I don't want to hear that. Because those are the facts.
It should not have took 24 hours.
No. What are we talking about? It was cut and dry.
Should not have took 24 hours to make this announcement and clarification.
I could have had any fan make that call.
Right.
Because they can read.
It makes me wonder, like, what deliberation was behind the scenes? And why was there deliberation behind the scenes?
Because there's no reason to deliberate, right? I don't care how much Chad Head wanted to talk. It was cut and dry. There is no appeal. There's no appeal.
There was none for Elite, so it should be the same for Coletta, right? Now, Coletta, they did have their announcement, and they owned up to it, and I appreciate that.
I do too.
But nonetheless, for the NHRA, this should not have took 24 hours. If there is a post-race failure in NASCAR with the winner, that is usually announced within, 3 hours? Because they have a rather lengthy process of inspection. And I think that does go back to, people have mentioned this in the comments section, and there needs to be more people teching these cars.
Yeah.
And Bobby Bennett has mentioned in his article, there needs to be more pre-race. Okay? Because it fascinates me that you're so concerned about safety, but yet you're checking afterwards. But you'll yet send a car at 330 miles per hour and then afterwards hit it when it was unsafe going 330, and you think you'd catch it before it goes 330.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me at all. And if it means that we don't have enough people, then stop being cheap and hire some people. If it means that we don't have enough people because we can't get press releases out and these things out quick enough, then hire some more people. But at the end of the day, you are the pinnacle of drag racing.
I don't feel like this was an issue of those involved, like with the NHRA that actually send out press releases and send out those statements. I don't think that's the issue. There's somebody before that
that's holding it up.
That in this case was holding it up. Like, why did it take 24 hours?
And I'll say this too. It is not the driver's responsibility. I appreciate Clay. I appreciate Antron for their honesty and being forthright. But the fact of the matter is, it's the NHRA's job to send out that press release well before they even open their mouth. Because did we forget about Bob Tasker and how he got out in front of this thing and created a whole narrative that he was the one in the wrong, that he was being wronged?
Right.
Now you got to clean up this mess because he got ahead of you before you did.
Right.
That should never happen. You think the NFL allows teams to put out statements on fines and infractions before they do? Absolutely not.
No. And not to mention, there's some fines we never hear about. I mean, look, the NFL does have some petty fines, by the way. Like,
petty.
Your towel was too wide. I mean,
wrong socks.
Wrong socks.
Wrong undershirt.
Yeah. It's pretty wild, so I don't think we have to know necessarily everything, but it is interesting that you've got the elite, and that was qualification. Yet there has not been anything from the NHRA sent on Antron Brown. There has been nothing from the NHRA sent on Clay Millican. And then we have this, what should be very clear cut and dry situation that, mind you, we can talk about this later. I think it's a bit much, but nonetheless, it is clear cut and dry, and it takes 24 hours. It's absurd.
And let's throw in the fact that, okay, now we have betting involved. And see, this is where people, and this is why you got the responses that you got from fans. Because the NFL gets the same thing when they get these bad, erroneous calls that everybody and their mama knows that was a basic rule that they knew, and they chose to gum up the works and make the wrong call. Well, it just cost somebody some money that was betting. People get mad about that. You don't play with people's money. Now that you have betting involved, you can't have all this lengthy 24-hour nonsense. I could see if it was something real technical, but this wasn't it. This seems like we didn't know what call to make, or we chose to just fiddle fart around to make it official. Because it sounds to me that the call had already been made long before they ever even made that announcement. There was no changing in that.
Right. You know, it's interesting. As much as people want to complain about NASCAR in this situation, or you have people in the comment section saying things like, oh, NHRA is becoming like NASCAR. At least at one time, I don't know about now, but you know, NASCAR like showed you the inspection process live on their YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm. They sure do.
I have no clue what the inspection process looks like.
I have no idea.
With the NHRA. Matter of fact, Dujanet, I can remember working with teams, and I don't recall that many officials coming by and checking much of anything.
I've kind of heard some of the same things, so I don't know.
It's very much like a police yourself type thing until you get dinged. And man, if I was teams, I'd be like, check my stuff.
Right.
I want you to look at it.
Right.
Matter of fact, I might be cheating and I don't even know it. Look at it.
Right. I mean, look at Clay's incident. All they did was flip a bracket, and they didn't know that it could be flipped in another way. And they put it on, and it set the wing strut back further than it normally is. It was an honest mistake. They didn't even know they could flip that part around. And Antron, they didn't know that they thought that was the limit, and they had broke the limit. They didn't really know what the limit was. So I get all of that. Mistakes and things happen, but when it comes down to final results, winners, there's got to be some quick and swiftness to it. And I also think that at this moment in time, the standard is set now. And I don't care what you say, you can't go back from this now.
I want these bolts on that cover checked every time now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because this is what's going to happen, whether it's a small safety infraction or big one. This is what's going to happen. You're DNQ'd for sure. So what needs to happen going forward is there needs to be some level of standards on different types of infractions, because again, this is not apples to oranges.
I'm very surprised. And also, what is the outline of what is levied? Like, I don't know in the rule book. I've never heard like this is what we can expect when there is an infraction. So, wow, you just took a win away. Yep. And points have been pulled back, and money is expected to transfer. But you have this situation where I don't know if it should be that way. Like, why isn't it okay? This is what you did. We don't like it. We're going to allow you to keep the win. Here's the fine. You're on probation. One more slip up, we will take a win away.
Yeah.
Whether that's a win of the event or a round win.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's just my whole. Yeah, that's just my whole thing. I think there's levels to this, and to me, I think on my show, Caleb had made a good point. This is like Roger Goodell handing out different fines for the same stuff. Same infractions, but the fines are totally different. And this here, to me, doesn't level up to any of the other stuff. I mean, that you're adding in, I accidentally put a wing strut in the wrong position. That could be deemed as an advantage of some sort, right?
Sure.
But bolts falling out and potentially running a tire that's never been run in pro stock and not really knowing what that tire can or cannot do. And I don't get me wrong, I think they do know what that tire can or cannot do. I'm just saying, looking at it from their side, they don't know what it's going to do on a pro stock car. That's different. Not pulling the pin and having the pin in the fire bottle is not the same as some screws falling out of the bell housing cover. I'm sorry, it's not, because those screws falling out ain't going to cause a man to burn to death.
My biggest issue on all of this, if the NHRA wants to be this stiff, fine. It should not have took 24 hours.
That's right. That's the bottom line.
There is more to this story we do not know. Why was the deliberation that long on what to say and when to say it and how to say it?
The world will never know.
Probably not. Probably not. But the positive is, hey, we've got some transparency now. I'll give them that. I feel like maybe this transparency was a bit forced, where it's like, well, guys, last week we had this elite thing, and we were very transparent, and then we clarified and doubled down on the transparency. And oh, here we are again.
But see, they had no choice now, because if they did not release a statement, it looks like you had an axe to grind. It looks personal. But like I said, a violation is a violation. All violations need to be public.
Why not?
Media and fans need to know about it. There's no more of this, well, we're going to pick and choose what we're going to put out. Nah. Wing infraction, it needs to be put out. There needs to be a statement. The fans need to know about it. All of it. That's the standard now.
Yep. Not just NHRAracer.com.
Right. You cannot pick and choose.
Put it out. Now, look, I don't think necessarily every one of them needs to have a graphic card created, but it needs to be put out so that if the media wants to put out, hey, here's the report of infractions from this weekend. Sure.
It can go on National Dragster. I mean, why not?
Why not? It should not.
NHRA.com.
It should not take 24 hours.
Yeah, because this is not your local bracket race. This is the NHRA.
Well, the local bracket races get decided apparently easier.
Apparently. Apparently. Oh man, it's hilarious.
Folks, this is against the rules. We're sorry. And if you were going to be this stiff, be that stiff there.
Well, standard is the standard now.
Right.
You set the standard by doing this. Now you can't go back. At least not for 2025. You can't.
And look, at this point too, send out a clarification to everyone in the media, and send out clarification to the fans that as the NHRA, the premier professional organization for drag racing, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to conduct ourselves. And this is why we are so stiff on these things. And just make it clear.
That's the bottom line. I mean, because
What,
at the
what
end
are
of
the
the day,
fines for Antron and what are the fines for Clay now?
none.
Do we know? Is there? I mean,
That is true. We don't know, but I doubt it.
what are those? And also,
Yeah.
I know some of the comment section, they're like, if it's not performance enhancing, look, safety rules are just as important as performance enhancing.
It is.
It's not a matter of you getting an edge. There are rules concerning safety that are there that may not necessarily have anything to do with a performance edge, but it may be an edge of, well, maintaining life and or the quality of it.
Yep.
While in the endeavors of motorsport.
Yeah. And it's for the racer and for the fan, and I get it. It only happened one time, but lightning can strike in the same place twice.
It can, and again, we need more tech ahead of the races, and we need consistent tech, I think, after. You know, I can remember at one time NASCAR, you know, you'd have those like first 3 cars pull up, and you got the NASCAR official with the torque wrench, you know, and they're checking every lug nut. Now, obviously, we're talking about the 5 lugs of the day and time, you know, but they're checking, okay? And if there's one loose, well, what does that look like with the NHRA then?
Right.
If I were the teams, I would not want this randomly.
Just be consistent.
It has bit too many. We still don't have an answer on headers, by the way, Buddy Holt.
That's true.
That
is true. I didn't even think of that.
We still don't.
I didn't even think of that.
We still don't.
It just keeps getting deeper and deeper, huh?
Look, let's go to the positives. John Force Racing, cool story.
That is cool.
They go back to Richmond, and it's a John Force win. I know Brittany wanted to go and win that race. They did get the #1 qualifying effort, though. Congratulations to them. But yes, you get a all John Force Racing final, and you get a John Force car in victory lane, and
yeah,
that's a cool story.
That's a cool story. That is cool. You know, what are the odds of that happening? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A year later, that was a cool story, real cool story. Pro Stock was a cool story. Pro Stock Bike was a cool story too.
Well, I know you talked with Destiny Spurlock before this show.
Yes.
And I have spoke with Destiny years ago, well before this start. And great character, great personality, attractive young lady, speaks well, could certainly be the kind of person to be a professional in the NHRA. So what was your chat with her like, and how did the debut go?
It was amazing. You know, what I found interesting was she had not even made a pass on that bike outside of getting her license. So Q1 was the first pass on that bike. And for it to come out of the trailer, run a 694 with an 8 was impressive. They got better as the day went on. I think Q3 was the run where they ran a 687 flat. That was like the 6th best ET of that session in Q3, and she's just really excited, thankful. Of course, you know, looking to build that portfolio for getting sponsorships, and you know, a lot of the no's were really not trusting that she could do this, but she faced some adversity, especially in the first pass. Bike, she said she didn't get on the brake quick enough, and the bike kind of drifted over towards the wall. She was able to lean on that thing and get it back. And there was another time where it kind of went towards the center line a little bit, and she had some adversity, but did well. And she said she thought she was nervous in the beginning, but once things started to happen, she just kind of lost the nervousness when she got up to the starting line. So it was super cool to talk with her and to see her be able to come out, make this debut. We haven't seen a Black woman in pro stock motorcycles since Peggy Llewellyn. So she's the second one to do so. She's only going to run Indy. She doesn't want to mess up her rookie season and hopes to run a full season in 2026. So I'm super excited for her. Couldn't have locked up with a better group of people in the Aranas. And it was a great conversation. You guys should definitely go check that out on the Not Bland Show YouTube page. It was a great show.
Well, I know let's say this too, as of right now. Congratulations to Justin Ashton. He is the official winner. Congratulations to that SCAG top field team. And hey, I do want to point out, congratulations to Daniel Wilkerson. They get their first Too Fast, Too Tasty challenge win. And
I thought they were going to win too. I thought they were destined to win.
Yeah, good. The hot rod looked good.
It did.
The hot rod looked good, and that they had swung through the shop here at McKinney Corp like on Tuesday or Wednesday. Made a few updates that they wanted in the car on the chassis and even the spaghetti or tree work, the framework that attaches to the body and rests on the chassis, and they were sent on to Virginia and did a good job and got a win in the Chimichanga Challenge, as Daniel Wilkerson used to say.
Yeah, man, that was so cool. And they've worked hard. It's nice to see things start to come in, to focus for them. And I think they're going to be an issue for a lot of people, especially as this weather gets hot. They seem to really kind of fell in a groove there with this hot track. I mean, we were almost up to 150-degree track temperature. Mm-hmm. I believe the 147 that we had was a record. So, that's what it's going to take here down the stretch, is having that ability to be consistent, be able to get that thing down a hot racetrack. And, I think they're going to be one of the ones that will be a problem for a lot of the teams out there.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Anything else from the NHRA national event? I think we can definitely spend some time this evening on IHRA.
Yeah,
and go.
Testing happened.
Yes, Tony Schumacher.
Tony got a test.
Yes.
Yeah, that was cool to see him back in the car. I think that's going to be
American Commercial Contractors.
I think that's what it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's weird to see the blue and the red though on him. You know what I mean? Like
a little different.
It's usually like a dark, like a black or a black and white or something like that. But a little weird to see the blue and the red. But I think it's going to be interesting for them. I think with Rob Flynn as the crew chief, it's really just going to depend on the crew coming together, not making as many mistakes, because they've got one of the best in the business, one of the greatest of all time at the helm. And I think the difference here for when he, was with JCM, I think he has a crew chief that can dial up a car for him to be able to go out and then do what he does best. So we'll see if they're able to get a win or put some, at least I know they can go rounds. We'll see what they can do and see if he can get a Wally this year. But he's definitely going to have a better race car than he had under him previously.
We said it right here on this show. I said it, and you concurred. We both were saying it. Rob Flynn would not be out on the market very long.
No, not at all. Yeah.
I still say it from years ago. Rob Flynn
was not the problem. He was not the problem.
He's done. And he'll get it done with Tony Schumacher.
Yeah, he definitely will.
It will perform. And I think Rob Flynn being over there is going to help also Clay Milliken.
I do too.
They're performing well anyway, don't get me wrong. But you bring another great mastermind with so much knowledge and insight of this sport. I think you're gonna see both teams pick up.
Yeah, I mean, look at what Brain Trust has done. I think John Force Racing has set that model. They have some of the best. They pick them well, and you see how across their platforms, how the level of consistency, the performance picks up. And the more minds you can have, more great minds you can have, the better. Because that the more eyes you have, you can really kind of figure out things a little bit quicker. And sometimes somebody sees something that maybe one guy doesn't see. So yeah, I think they both do pick up here, and it'll be really interesting to see how they come out of the gate. Because Rick Ware, he's going to spend the money to do it the right way. So it's just going to be a matter of the crew guys coming together and gelling quickly, and I think Rob's going to be just fine as far as giving him a race car that can win. So
absolutely, I agree. And this past weekend, Dugenay. I didn't get to talk to him because he got out of the stands before I could get down off my ladder for filming. But Larry Dixon was enjoying some Nitro Chaos action.
Really?
And yeah, he was there at Edgewater Sports Park enjoying some Nitro Chaos action. He just needs to get him a car that fits the rules. I know he's got that Top Fuel dragster, but get something with the motor out in front. And come on, Larry, and burn some nitro at Nitro Chaos.
Yeah, I missed that guy.
Krista Baldwin was hanging out with Jake Sanders and Katie Butera and the Menace Top Fuel team. Not just hanging out, but she actually got to work a little bit. She folded a couple parachutes up and helped out, and chatted with her about IHRA. And then later on, a couple of days from that, boom, the announcement. She is going to be running her Top Fueler in the IHRA. Also, Scott Palmer today, that dropped, running IHRA. Dale Creasy Sr., we got word. That was the first announcement. IHRA, he will be running in it. Frankie Taylor, Madman, is going to be running in it. Craig Sullivan is going to be running in it with Pro Mod. So we're starting to get some announcements, and the ball's rolling on individuals that will that intend to go there. And I can tell you that again, there are some people there in Nitro Chaos that compete in that particular brand of the Chaos, driver and crew member, that in the NHRA they kind of flip, and one's the driver and the other one's the crew member, and they will be at Norwalk this weekend in a Top Fuel car, and they also said that they're going to be throwing their hat in the ring in the IHRA. So
I like that.
It's an issue of cars
no
any longer. It's just an issue of, can this event happen and happen well enough where there is confidence in the other events, and then springboard to longevity. I did also see, though, Dugenay Spy Shots. National Trail Raceway apparently is going to be renamed, and it is not going to be National Trail Raceway.
Really?
I understood it. There are some naming rights, if you will, and it's going to be a different name. Now, obviously, everyone's going to still refer to it as National Trail. As
absolutely.
People, refer to, when it was Lowe's Motor Speedway, they just said Charlotte, and there's many other examples like that. But apparently, it will have a different name in the future.
That's interesting. Very interesting. And I like what the IHRA is doing with kind of rolling out these different names. And like I said earlier, I think this is great for these small teams. And the more laps that they can get, then the better they're going to be when they decide to run a few NHRA events. And, the competition is pretty stout as it is right now, 1 through 16, but it also puts some more money in their pocket. And like I said, may not be, to some may not be a lot, but I think the money you win, you win. That's life-changing money for a lot of these small teams. And, even the lowest, qualified person, the money's pretty good. So I like what this has the ability to bring for racing as a whole. Right. And really, when it comes down to a lot of teams like, Paul Smith and, you know, a lot of the other small teams. It's just it's not the fact that they can't do it. It's the fact that they just don't get enough laps. So when they do come out, you know, if they miss early, then they're behind the 8 ball. And then you also know you might have great conditions Friday and Friday night is your hero session. And then Saturday conditions are warm, hot, fields sometimes already set, and you're not going to be able to even get into the bump spot because you're behind the 8 ball and really couldn't get down the track first 2 sessions of Friday. So I think more laps creates more consistency for those small teams, and then they have more data to where they can kind of figure things out and pick this thing up quicker when they come out to an NHRA event. And you know, when they're running a little bit better and can give you a nice side-by-side race, well, that makes things a little bit more you know, hair-raising for the bigger teams, because if they slip up, it could be on the trailer first round for them. So, and it's great action for the fans. So more racing, better competition all around between both. It's a win-win.
The only concern I gather from those that I have talked to, it is not this race happening. It is not even a matter of full fields. It is a matter of beyond of that race being successful, and beyond it, the longevity. That is
Yep, that's it. If they do it right they do it right with this first race, and can build confidence from this first race, the rest of it will take care of itself. That's the key. Doing this one right and building confidence within the racers that they can be trusted. That's the key.
I'm just wondering if we're going to get, you know, like we had Joe on earlier. I fully expect that Joe Morrison or John Smith is going to be at the wheel of Paul Smith Entertainer Funny Car in IHRA competition. I have no doubt. I think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I wonder, out of the NHRA, when it comes to very, very good cars, I wonder if Clay Millican, obviously, and Doug Foley are going to be there. Because, I mean, you talk about IHRA battle there for a little while between Doug and Clay, and then they always seem to kind of line up some way, somehow in NHRA competition as well. That would be cool to see those two back there battling it out for the first rejuvenation trophy, if you will, of the IHRA. That would be cool. So I definitely could see those two out of the NHRA stable doing some IHRA drag racing again. And certainly there's others that we can expect, but it's not going to be a car issue.
No, I don't think that's going to be a problem at all.
It could be a functionality of event and then longevity.
Yeah. Dave W said Doug Foley just did a sponsor open house in Columbus, so
right. Well, his sponsors there, you know, and
you
know, in the area, and so I mean, very well could be. I wouldn't be shocked. And Doug Foley Jr. works for the IHRA as a division director, so again, hasn't been announced, but I wouldn't be shocked.
Nah, I wouldn't be either. And you're right, Dave. You know, Lex June, Scott Palmer, Krista Bowen, Del Creasy, Terry Haddock. It is a big season changer for those folks.
I don't expect Terry to be there.
No?
At driving, at least.
I
think it'd be Michaela.
Now that would be pretty cool.
I think it'd be him over Dad.
That would be cool.
I can see that.
That would be cool because he hasn't been out to too many. NHRA events this year, which I've kind of been surprised.
No, just program different. They were there for Chaos. And
that's pretty cool.
They had 2 cars. Terry was in Nitro Chaos, if I remember correctly, and Galen was in Funny Car. They had them split just to help, the time difference. So
right.
But yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if, they did that scenario again, or you got one or the other. But look, the IHRA is not going to have a car issue.
Mm-mm.
They'll have their full fields of what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I think so too. Should be interesting, man. And I'm interested to see how they plan on broadcasting this thing for people to see too. So I think that.
Well, they have IHRA TV. That's the YouTube channel. And originally the intent was that, when Larry Jeffers had it and Mel Roth was involved, they were right here on Competition Plus Power Hour. And, hey, we got IHRA TV and we're going to stream the races. And they did attempt to stream at least one, if not even two. And I don't know if that's still logged on the YouTube channel that you can watch it, but they did attempt it. But it didn't go anywhere. And one reason why it didn't go anywhere is because, well, the Hot Rod Classics didn't go anywhere either. So they do have a YouTube channel. Will anything happen there with it, or do they find another way to stream it? And, I don't know, at this point, I might just sit up in the stands and stream it myself anyway, and with a cell phone, just show everybody what's going on, no matter what might be taking place. I don't know. But I need to send an email for credentials myself, but I got some things in the works that may be helping out a team there in particular that has already decided that, we want to go. We want to be in the IHRA and do that. But it is certainly they got some big announcements. They got some big announcements that need to be happening rather quickly.
Yeah.
And and like they need to be doubling down on these little info cards that they're doing. I like what they're doing, but there needs to be like 3 a day. And yes, be announcing where you're streaming and things of that nature, if you're going to stream. So we still got a lot of questions, but yeah, they're going to have cars. They're going to have a show.
Max says they've been playing ads on the radio in the city for IHRA.
Yep. So,
that's pretty neat.
Yeah, they're gearing up. They're ramping up, but there's still some questions of tech. The NHRA's got tech questions. There's questions there, and with IHRA, but nonetheless, the ball's rolling.
Do you think Flow would be a good move?
Well, no. I mean, because personally, I don't think Flow has been advantageous overall for the sport of drag racing.
See, that was my thought too. But
I think Flow has been advantageous for PDRA and Duck.
Yeah.
But beyond that, no.
Yeah.
I mean, Flow got out of their contract, even though they had a clause to do it a year early with Funny for Chaos.
Interesting.
Flow.
Yeah, I remember that.
NMRA, and you don't have Midwest either on there anymore. They decided to dissolve that deal. So when you look at the Flow drag racing portfolio right now, it is a one-off nitro race that is a glorified race when it's actually a test session, and then PDRA and a couple of Duck productions. That's it. Yeah. It was far more diversified.
Yeah, it was. It was at one point. It was. Yeah. And I agree with you, Mac. That was my thought. I think they should just stick with their YouTube channel.
So you've got you take Flow. Look at their dirt track portfolio. Look how diversified it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then the drag racing portfolio is very narrow.
Yeah, they've lost a lot.
So no, I don't think. I think Flow is good for dirt track racing spectacularly, and circle track racing spectacularly. But for drag racing, it has limited exposure.
Yeah. Because it's hard. It's hard to convince. It's hard to me. It seems like it would be hard to convince drag racing fans to pay a subscription for something, and your portfolio is pretty limited.
Yeah, all right. I mean, they just have. They just have.
Yeah. He said, "Look, NHRA, all the tech possibilities." they can stay relevant in the news, but the NHRA is coming, baby. Yeah, I hope so, man. That's what we all hope is going to happen, is that this thing gets kicked off and it's really an alternative for people, because that's so important in any sport, is having an alternative, and it makes others better. You know what I mean? When you have competition, it makes the others better, because now they're seeing what other folks are doing. There's some things that might be working that others are trying, and it forces people to think outside the box. So yeah, I like it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how this whole thing plays out. It's gonna be fun if they can make this thing sustainable. It's gonna be fun and great for all these small teams, that would love to run a few more races, but don't have that purse, that money to do so. This is an opportunity for them to be able to race at their budget and make some money while doing it.
Right. I think overall, very positive.
Yes. Yeah.
We'll see what else comes out. Look, I can tell you, streaming is not cheap. I mean, yeah, internet service might not be that expensive, but man, what a lot of people don't realize, we had a stream this past weekend put on by RPM Army. I think he did a fine job. He's out of Ohio, and I think he did a fine job with a 2-camera static shot, and still played our commercials for our partners with Chaos. Was it a perfect stream? No, I think he would tell you that. But it did allow the fans to see in real time that event at Edgewater Sports Park.
Mm-hmm.
When you start adding things such as a swinging camera, someone operating a camera, you just shot the price up, because that camera operator needs to be paid.
Yeah.
That camera operator needs to be reimbursed on their travel. That camera operator needs lodging, some shape, form, or fashion.
Right.
So it's not just, get a camera guy. No, these people need to be paid.
Yep.
And they need to be treated right. So if you can't do that, well, you don't get them. It's kind of like, don't go to the restaurant unless you tip type of scenario. Okay?
Yeah.
So when you start adding those elements and it becomes more complex, then you also have a situation of your equipment goes up. Anybody out there, go take the time to price wireless transmitters. And like, if you're trying to transmit, 100 feet, it's not that bad. You try transmitting, 1,320 feet, whew, it gets expensive for the quality stuff.
Yeah.
It just costs. It does. Now, I certainly think with all the money that's being thrown around currently, sure they've thought about streaming, and I'm sure they have thought about putting it on IHRA TV, and hopefully they do. We'll see though.
I think that's a smart deal. Control. Best to control your own product, especially right with. Mm-hmm. You talking about subscriptions. You're just starting to hit the deck here and get the ball rolling. Get as many eyes on it as you can, so that you can entice people. If that's all they may need to just come out to one of these events and support it live. So I think that's the best way to go, especially in its first year, of doing this. So
right. I like what Drag Racing Mayhem is saying. Look, let me just see 3 successful events. And I originally said, look, just do 3 and get it under your belt, then work towards next year. Yep. So let's see where it all goes. I just hope that it is not a case of someone on an ego trip, let me prove a point, and when I get tired of it or I prove my point, I'm done.
Right. I hope it's not that either. Yeah, because I feel like this is something it cannot go this way, because at the end of the day, these cars that are going to be out there need this to happen. They want to go racing too. They would like to be racing more as well. And if you can keep this going, man, you talk about, Joe was saying the same thing. More is always better because not everybody can make it to an NHRA national event. And a lot of these places that NHRA will be, people, it's pretty centralized. People can get there. And, just do the 3, get the thing under your belt, and just keep the ball rolling. I think if they are serious about it, it's clear that the racers are going to support it.
Yes, absolutely. And I think they're going to have support by the media too. I think, and look, anyone out there, IHRA, would love to have you come back on the show. I know we had someone in the past, and I don't think they're with the IHRA now. And we'd love to have whoever is with the IHRA come and talk. And look, let's pump up that first event. I'll have people in between the slicks. I know Dugenais will have them on the Not Bland show. Look, I know that I'm sure that Drag Illustrated wants to have you. I'm sure that any other platform wants to have you. We want to hear about it. We want it to be a success. So contact us. We'll reach out. Your people talk to our people.
Right.
Let's talk it up.
Let's get it. It's the only way. We can get eyeballs, people getting curious about it, is by putting it out there. So yeah, let's get that rolling so this first event can be a success.
Absolutely. Speaking of rolling, I want to roll out of here.
Yeah, you and me both.
Good show. Thank you to Melanie Johnson, Joe Morrison for their time. NHRA, thank you for the drama. We appreciate it. It gives us something to talk about. Let's see what happens with Norwalk.
Yeah, let's see what happens. I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be very interesting, especially in Pro Stop.
I mean, pull out the magnifying glass, NHRA, and find something else.
Yes. yes, please do. It's got people talking.
It does. Maybe we can have something like really positive.
Yeah.
After
maybe. We'll see. Well, guys, we've hit the red line. So we're going to red line it on out of here. Good night.
Take care, folks.
Reliability to drive thousands of miles. Confidence for those who fly high. Redline oil products give you the power to crush the competition. And a track record of being the best. Redline oil products. You push it to the limit, we'll protect it.
QuarterMileClassifieds.com is a new and easier alternative to online classified advertising. We make it a simple experience with $20 getting your car, hauler, engine, or parts listed for 2 weeks. If you want to make a bigger splash, we have VIP listings that provide even more exposure, including social media. On QuarterMileClassifieds.com, you get up to 10 photos of video and up to 2,000 characters to deliver the message you need to make the sale. QuarterMileClassifieds.com is a trusted classified ad partner of Competition Plus and the Rooftech Top Eliminator Bonus Fund. Visit QuarterMileClassifieds.com today.